serious, when was a time you legitimately thought you were going to die? My third round with double pneumonia. Put into isolation on round-the-clock oxygen. There's just something about such severe oxygen deprivation that you get dizzy and hack up a lung just crossing a room to pick up a book that makes you certain the end is coming. My lungs shut down during chemo, allergy to one of the chemo drugs, and, yeah, not being able to breathe or catch your breath is terrifying, even when your care is amazing like mine was in ICU. My lung capacity is reduced quite a bit since, but I can exercise still, so I consider myself lucky. Not being able to breathe is one of the most terrifying things I've experienced. Summer of 2015, after I had a 6-hour surgery to remove a tumor. When I woke up and they took the mask off of me, I was in so much pain and felt like I couldn't breathe. Why did you still feel pain after the surgery? I assume you would have been under anesthesia. Edit, can y'all stop trashing on me? I know I'm a dumbass but I ain't r/bone apple tier worthy. The 5th of October 2019, rear-ended by a dump truck. In a coma for 42 days and am now paralyzed. So sorry to hear this, how are you? Some dick pulled a revolver on me while at a party. Turns out it was one of those decommissioned ones with a cemented barrel and cylinder, but I didn't know at the time and it was fucking scary. What a dumbass. That's a good way to get shot. A friend and his girlfriend came to my house from a trip from Peru. They told me if they could come in. I was living with my grandparents. Once, we're in my room, he pulls a gun. I didn't know much about how guns worked back then. He cocks the gun, pulls out the magazine, points at me and pulls the triggers. Turns out he was pulling the hammer, so the bullet wasn't shot. However, it scared the living shit out of me. I was on vacation this past summer, was staying at a friend's house, when I started to notice my chest feeling tight. I started to get a fever and feel sick. I threw up and the feeling in my chest started to expand. It felt like it was going to explode, like a balloon being inflated inside me. I couldn't stand it. I literally felt like at any moment my heart would give out or my chest would explode. Went to the emergency. Turns out I had a really bad gallbladder attack. But on the drive to the hospital I was telling my wife how much I love her lol and that if she remarries don't let it be anyone we currently know, ha ha ha. As soon as you said the balloon thing, I was like, gallbladder. I tell people my gallbladder pain wasn't the most pain I've ever been in, but it was the pain I most wanted to stop. It made me feel like almost insane with panic somehow. Outcome? As I've almost the same thing for close to 4 years and they say no cardiac problems. Hit a stopped car going over 65 miles per hour. Spent 2 years in a wheelchair, 6 months of that was learning to walk again. Honestly thought I was going to die in the seconds before impact. I can still clearly see the people in the other car, the other traffic around us. Car was stopped to turn on a highway with no middle turning lane. I was the only one injured though, and I'm still sort of grateful for that because I swear there was a kid in the back seat of the other car. I wasn't the driver, front seat passenger of a reckless driver. Wow. That's amazing. Hope you are back to full health. It almost sounds like you did die in a way. The day after my sociopath father threatened to commit a school shooting at my high school if I tried to keep my mum away from him. Edit, thank you for all the love and support, Reddit. Fuck. Car accident few months prior, hit a stationary car on the highway going over 100 mph, wheels locked up due to slippery road, thought it was over for me within that few seconds, but miraculously both me and the other person got out with minor injuries. Edit, changed brake failed to wheels locked up due to road was wet. Just for clarification, my bad. Glad you are okay. I mean, whether I died and my consciousness continued in a parallel reality is up for debate, but I smashed into a concrete divider trying to get to an off-ramp 60 miles per hour in traffic. Things went completely black for forever it seemed, but was probably closer to 5 meters. I remember one time I knocked myself out by kneeing myself in the face and I thought I was out for like days, but turns out I was out for 30 seconds. The day I had a dystonic reaction from an antipsychotic medication. It's basically an episode of dystonia. From the torso up, I didn't have any control over my muscles. I thought I was going to snap my own neck. This happened while I was driving. I've been in 2 car accidents in my life. Both times I was the passenger. The first was when I was 14. My mom and I hydroplaned and went off the road. We missed a guardrail by inches and almost went into a pond, but a barbed wire fence saved us. The second time I was 17. My stepdad and mom were in the front of the SUV. I was in the back behind my mom. My stepdad overcorrected and lost control. We were headed right for a light pole. My stepdad spun the wheel and took the hit on his side. We broke the pole and flipped 4 times into a field. I remember my head going through a window and just closing my eyes. When it was over, we were upright. My stepdad died. I'm 100,000% positive he saved my life when he decided to take the hit on his side. Your story got to me. No words can describe the goodness of what your stepdad did for you. I'm glad you're alive. It's what he wanted. About 2 weeks ago, I started having strange pains in my chest. At first, it seemed to originate from my heart. Of course, I overreacted and believed it to be a dangerous issue with my heart. I'd seriously accepted that I might not have seen the next day. Turns out, however, that I had a hole in my lung that was leaking air into my chest cavity, which was causing the pain. Not to understate the seriousness of having a hole in one's lung, but I was glad that it wasn't anything immediately life-threatening. Had the same issue as you. Pneumothoraxes suck. I got hit by a car and lost consciousness for a few seconds. I remember the moment I saw the car, the moment I got hit, and had 1,000 thoughts going through my head. Like in a dream. And then there I am in the middle of the road. I woke up and ran to the side of it as fast as I could. Little did I know I was running with a broken leg. That panicky moment after being in an accident of just needing to get out of the road is so real. Pure adrenaline survival instinct. Weird how the body temporarily ignores pain in moments of need. I had an emotional trauma-induced seizure. Basically your brain stops and reboots. I had this feeling of fading into a warmth. I saw a warm yellow light at first, but it all faded into a blackness. I remember thinking, I don't know what's happening, but I think I'm about to die. I had a moment of reflection as I fell. I felt like I was being held by something calm telling me it may just be my time. I was 14. 14? Dear God. It hurts to think of someone so young going through that. I'm glad you made it through. During childbirth with my second, it was so much different that time around, and I literally thought I would die from the pain. Which is weird because the first time around, I was fine and didn't feel that way at all. My second child came out like a raging bull. So much blood loss. I was dying and I didn't care. My blood pressure was like 50/27. Got a blood transfusion and was good as new. 400 stitches helped too. I couldn't believe how calm I felt as I told the nurse I'm dying. This is my answer too. I distinctly remember knowing that I was going to die and being okay with it. I'd been pushing for so long and I had nothing left. I was so exhausted. I knew I was going to die, and that was fine. I just needed to get that baby out and then I could die and finally get some rest. I had a normal, though lengthy, birth, so this was in no way based in reality. I took an edible before a flight from Portland to San Francisco. I proceed to get very, very high, both metaphorically and literally. The plane begins its descent, and as it does this it seems to take a steeper angle than usual, and I notice the engines seemingly turn off or stop making as much noise. In my paranoid, stoned mind I become convinced that the engines have failed and we are going to crash. I begin composing my last texts to send out to my family and friends, saving them all as drafts, and then like 20 minutes later I notice that none of the flight attendants are worried at all and still smiling and joking. This is when I realized that the plane was not in fact crashing and I'm just an idiot. Edibles are no joke, man. Tread lightly, or take half of your regular dose if you plan on being baked in public. Took way too much of an edible at a show and totally humbled me. Damn, what a fucking mood. Cheers to that, bro. Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.